evening, Papua New Guinea, and welcome to another episode of Business PNG. Papua New Guinea, like the rest of the world, has been plagued with external factors affecting economic growth. A drastic drop in global commodity prices, China's moderating growth, and Brexit have proved to be unfavorable hurdles. Over the past months, the private sector has expressed their concerns about the state of the economy and the persistent pressures on foreign currency, urging the government to put measures in place to curb government spending. At a recent business breakfast hosted by the Business Council of PNG, the private sector was given an outlook of the country's economy over the coming months. The slowdown in the economy has been quite noticeable, with the private sector feeling the brunt of the pinch, especially when dealing with the lack of foreign exchange.
The last thing I want is to lay people off, because it'll mean that I've run out of raw materials and I can't supply product. And to me, that's not good for anyone, least of all for the Papua New Guinean consumer, because I think many of the products, most of the products we supply are staples for the Papua New Guinea economy.
Michael Penrose, Business Council Vice President, gave some examples of clear indicators of the economic strain.
Indications coming out from Pricewaterhouse, KPMG and Deloitte is that most of their bigger clients are probably down on average about 35% against the same period last year, which is quite significant, when you put it in the context of, where we are at the moment. I suppose it goes without saying that you can imagine what the smaller to medium-sized businesses are probably experiencing, the levels of decline they're probably experiencing. The other key probably indicator that in our last recent consultative session that we had, some of the data coming through from BSB was that FPOS transactions for the last 3 quarters are down about 9%. So probably giving another indicator in terms of consumer sentiment at the moment. The other probably big factor, capital expenditure, down significantly with most businesses in regards to the same period last year. Not surprising that the Forex has had an impact in terms of being able to, let alone pay for the equipment, the capital equipment to come in. But given where the sale, what the sales trends are looking like, it's a case of most businesses sort of battening down the hatches and sort of riding out the cycle, without any sort of intent of, any further investments.
According to the Department of Treasury, gradual consolidation will return the economy to a fiscal sustainable path, maintaining debt to GDP at a sustainable level and return to a balanced budget by 2020.
In terms of how government goes forward in this time, rushing to undertaking some of these structural reforms can also have a negative implication. What government needs to do and what needs to do is make sure we take those reforms but undertake them in an orderly fashion, manner that they support your overall fiscal framework. We look at Nigeria, rushed into it. On the other side, what has happened to it, it's now facing recession. To rush into some of these structural reforms. On the other hand, if we look at Mongolia, has done nothing, obviously it's in the middle of a situation as well. So when you look at the situation, it needs to be a balanced manner in a way that the government provides an environment for conducive growth, but at the same time, it has a social obligation as well.
Despite the negative picture painted of the coming months, business houses remain committed to finding solutions during these tough times.
Hard decisions need to be made about stopping things that are actually being funded at the moment. Stopping things that are not yet funded, as in not making promises to spend, is a much easier political outcome than actually trying to stop something that people already have in their pocket or a job that's already created.
Although the medium-term outlook for PNG's economy plans for modest increases in revenue and expenditure until 2020, according to the Asian Development Bank, forward revenue projections may not be realistic without the fiscal consolidation the government has committed to, which may result in PNG likely to miss its fiscal targets.
I think belt tightening, focusing on the basics. I think the government needs to now make sure that it sticks to its plan. I think the plan is already there. The intention for the government's budget strategy paper that came out last year on how it plans to reduce expenditure, increase revenue, and manage its deficit. It's there in the plan. The 2016 has already started the process of fiscal consolidation, and the government also has its medium-term development plan, which outlines its development priorities. Implementing, all three is the key thing.
With a view to providing information on investment and employment trends, the Investment Promotion Authority continues to maintain their database on the levels of foreign direct investment into the PNG economy. The information on the level of foreign direct investment is extracted and collated from the certification process administered by the IPA.
The Investment Promotion Authority continues to maintain their database on the levels of foreign direct investment into PNG, with a view to providing investment and employment trends within PNG's economy for information and policy purposes. The information on the levels of foreign direct investment was extracted and collated from the certification process administered by IPA. The information being presented is based on proposed figures and projections on the levels of FDI into PNG being conveyed in the following manner: approvals and proposed employment country of origin, proposed FDI and approval by country of origin, approvals and proposed employment by sector, and proposed FDI and approval by sector, approvals and proposed employment by province, proposed FDI and employment creation by province. Now, taking a look at approvals and proposed employment by country of origin, based on the graph, the following key observations can be made. The total number of approvals is 662, while the proposed employment created was 13,447. From the total employment created, 86%, which translates to 11,550 national jobs, while 14%, which is 1,897 foreign jobs. China has the highest number of approvals with 246, followed by Australia with 115 and Malaysia with 75 approvals. Other countries have a distribution of between 50 to 0 approvals. In terms of employment creation, China recorded the highest number of jobs with 4,055 jobs, followed by Australia with 1,759, then by Hong Kong with 1,435 and Malaysia with 1,408 jobs. The following points are drawn from this graph in respect to proposed FDIs and approvals by country of origin. It is evident that Hong Kong has the highest number of investment with total FDI value of up to 700 million kina, representing 20% of total FDI value, while Australia and China both accounted for more than 500 million kina of total FDI value, representing a total of 32%, that's 16% each. Singapore accounted for 12% of 400 million kina of total FDI value. On the other hand, China has the highest number of approvals with 246 out of 662 approvals. This indicates that the Chinese investment will continue to increase in terms of FDI values, while Australia recorded the second highest of total approvals, and that suggests that Australia's investment will continue to increase in terms of FDI value as well, and Malaysia records the third highest approvals with 75 and followed closely by Philippines with 36 approvals. Overall indication is that there will be continuous increased investment in terms of FDI value amongst the countries mentioned. Now, this graph indicates the number of approvals and proposed employment by sector. The key observations from this graph are that most sectors have between 27 and 0 approvals, while the agriculture sector was recorded to have the second largest share of proposed employment creation, totaling 950, followed by the manufacturing sector with 939 jobs. The wholesale and retail sector has the highest number of approvals with 324, which translates to a total of 5,272 jobs. Its highest total comprised of 49% of total approvals for the period. The construction sector has the highest number of approvals with 70, translating to 10.5% of total approvals, and the total employment creation was recorded at 1,911 jobs. The third highest was the real estate sector with 44 approvals, constituting 7% of the total approvals. The share of proposed employment created was 466 jobs. Now over to the proposed FDI and number of approvals by sector, and based on the graph below, indicating that the catering and hospitality sector has the highest number of investment and accounted for more than 1.5 billion kina in FDI value, and represents more than half, that's 59% of total FDI value since January to August 2016. The construction sector is the second highest, accounting for more than 500 million kina in FDI value, representing 20% of total FDI. The financial and agriculture sectors recorded 11% and 10% of total FDI value, respectively, with total investment value of more than 600 million kina in terms of approvals. The wholesale and retail sector recorded 324 approvals, representing 49% of total approvals since January to August 2016. More investment is expected to flow into the wholesale and retail sector. This graph indicates the number of approvals and proposed employment creation by province. The dominating factor on this graph is that the National Capital District is the province with the highest number of approvals and employment creation, with 3,254 approvals and 5,599 jobs. Not specified is the second highest number of approval and employment creation, with 97 approvals and 2,553 jobs. Not specified refers to the provinces that foreign companies have yet to choose or identify their location of their operators, leaving the country's second largest city, Morobe Province, with 64 approvals and a total of 1,569 jobs. This graph indicates the number of approvals and proposed employment creation by province. The dominating factor on this graph is that the National Capital District is the province with the highest number of approvals and employment creation, with 3,254 approvals and 5,599 jobs. Not specified is the second highest number of approval and employment creation, with 97 approvals and 2,553 jobs. Not specified refers to the provinces that foreign companies have yet to choose or identify their location of their operators, leaving the country's second largest city, Leh City, with 64 approvals and a total of 1,569 jobs.
And now on to some news bites. Labour and Industrial Relations Minister Benjamin Poponawa has highlighted the need for stakeholders and the government to review and improve existing labour laws, many of which have remained unchanged for more than 20 years. The minister made the call when opening a new office complex in Port Moresby, which now houses all the functions of the Labour Department.
Since 2012, there's been a lot of attention given to reforming the country's labour laws. A lot of the work has been facilitated by the International Labour Organization, the ILO, that's pushing for Papua New Guinea's international compliance. But there's still a lot more to be done.
That's how we can help Papua New Guinea. That's how we can get Papua New Guinea back.
Yesterday, when the Labour and Industrial Relations Minister opened a new office building, he told those present that old labour laws that had been in existence for more than 20 years had to be reviewed and improved.
Okay, some of these laws are some 20, 30 years down the line. We've moved on and the place has changed. And the way of doing business has changed also. And there's a, people are more, real time. So we need to, that's why we need to update our Industrial Relations Act and the Employment Relations Act.
Some of the questions that remain include how new forms of employment in the 21st century should be regulated. Are our laws adequate when dealing with export of labour to other countries? Whose responsibility is it, foreign affairs or labour? And there are many grey areas that need clarification. Also, there are many areas in which the laws are silent.
We need the input from people like the Prime Minister's Department, National Planning Department. And
Perhaps the biggest challenge is information sharing. For instance, the Labour Department and the Department of Foreign Affairs handle similar responsibilities. But those within the bureaucracy admit both departments don't readily share information, and that can make the regulation of foreign workers and other matters quite complex.
Over the last 20 years, much of the development in Enga province has been supported by revenue generated from the Porgera gold mine. This has allowed the province to implement successful programs, including the much talked about free education policy. However, the province is now looking to agriculture as its main money earner into the future, and it is doing so through the development of several agriculture projects, one of which was launched recently by Agriculture Minister Tommy Tomsko.
The village of Yapai in the Layagam area of Enga province came to life recently, with close to 7,000 people witnessing the launch of landmark projects for this area. A seed multiplication project together with a potato farming project, all initiated by the community at a cost of close to 2.5 million kina. Sem Talepakali, a Yapai local, had been at the forefront of these two projects.
Big plus scale farming, you must get him seed. So first something you starting M1 plus seed based in Salonga.
According to Enga Governor, Chief Sir Peter Ipatas, this project signals a new start for Enga province in its bid to become the food bowl of Papua New Guinea. He likened this new focus on agriculture as the start of a green revolution for Enga province.
This project is an example. Another project is starting now. All Israeli can start. Two project by work one time. Now, all the people belong in a province.
Agriculture Minister Tommy Tomsko was on hand to officially launch both these projects.
God by blessing this Samu, and I hope that all the people in Papua New Guinea in the world one time, when they eat Samu and Samu alone, God will bless them too.
Whilst initiated by the community, these two projects had been supported in a large way by Fresh Produce Development Agency, FPDA.
Me harim samla top osem all potato long here man walking one potato enough come up 15 or 25 potato.
The launch of these two projects here in Yapai signal a new start for the people of this area in Enga province. They can now look forward to producing more potatoes for selling within the local economy, bringing much needed revenue to improve their livelihoods in the years to come.
The Urban Youth Employment Project will see 1,000 marginalized youth in NCD trained to join the FIFA Local Organizing Committee workforce for the Women's Under-20 World Cup. This initiative is the first of its kind for FIFA.
The Urban Youth Employment Project, a local-level government initiative by Governor Power Sparkop and Sports Minister Justin Chichenko, was established in 2011 with a budget of $17.98 million from various donors. It was initiated as a public intervention addressing both the economic problem of unemployment and poverty, as well as youth marginalization and crime in the city. The partnership with FIFA is a milestone for the youth project, which is continuing to train and empower the youth of NCD.
This is the first time in the history of FIFA for the World Cup to involve the marginalized youth, and we are all excited about the involvement of our project through the provision of the 1,000 manpower who will assist the organizing committee.
Pacifica Limited has been tasked with training and preparing the 1,000 youth to meet FIFA's standards and level of professionalism.
So our role is to take the youth from the Urban Youth Employment Project and physically manage these people all the way through the next 5 weeks, where we put them through a training program. We give them skills to be able to interact with the LOC department heads, and really it's all about just preparation of the 1,000 youth that we're getting the handover from today.
FIFA is known for leaving behind infrastructural legacies after international matches. Through this partnership, this will be the first time that FIFA leaves behind a human resource legacy through the Urban Youth Employment Project.
This is a good program for us because for FIFA, they also want to not only look at football, but they want to leave a legacy behind. So this engagement of this youth is really for us to leave a legacy behind that FIFA came into this country, brought the World Cup, but they will also have left some young people trained and mindset. They should have changed their mindset being part of this World Cup.
Today marks the official handing over of 1,000 youths from the Urban Youth Employment Project to the Football Association under FIFA. In the interim, the 1,000 youths will be trained by Pacifica Limited in preparation of the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup that is set to kick off on the 13th of November 2016.
State-owned entity PNG Power is now rolling out the EasyPay system to Manus for the first time. This gives PNG Power customers in Manus full purchasing power, as well as to end the use of the old credit meter billing system.
PNG Power is changing old credit meters in Manus and replacing them with EasyPay meters to make electricity service accessible and customer-friendly. A new EasyPay customer, Noel Bull, said the new system is better because consumers have had issues with the old credit meters, with electricity bills soaring sky high and customers finding it difficult to settle their bills.
Fridge or using rice cooker or when I'm saying bills got a plant ya. Na time black look more welcome give like people way. People some months actually people pay some really pay. So time look lana me do hey. Money no me no in bill like to masia. How do you want our sema? EasyPay is nice. Because time play you see me go na it go more say me will come down I'm like oh yes me play kat so 45 units or maybe 10 or maybe 50 units are better. So me must go buy can come 80 can go and so that at the same time you are controlling your consumption power play you. Same time you only use him slide you know can budget play you.
The project started on September 19 and PPL wants to ensure all customers are converted to EasyPay. Manus has over 1,200 customers and PPL has a target to install EasyPay meters for all. Customer Mr. Bull also encouraged other customers to have the new EasyPay meters installed in their homes.
Online where you know service yet.
PPL manager Lorengao Brian Masange said a notice was issued to customers and he was happy to note that many of them are settling their outstanding bills for EasyPay meters to be installed. PPL Lorengao has recovered more than 500,000 kina in September alone. The rollout is expected to be completed by the end of October.
And that's all from us tonight. For more business news, or if you would like to view this episode again, visit EMTV online at the URL at the bottom of the screen. Or for up-to-the-minute business news and updates, like our page on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at Business PNG or on Tumblr. Until next week, have a pleasant evening. I'm Leanne Gerari, and this was Business PNG.